Family, what's up, man? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the new recently buffed KSP. Let's get right into the class setup. I use the Microflex LED for the optic muzzle. I use the infantry compensator. I choose that over this, the SOCOM eliminator, just because it has -12 horizontal recoil control. I don't like that. Use the Ranger barrel for 100% extra bullet recoil, just so I can compete a little bit better with ARs. I use the Tiger Team Spotlight because sometimes this game has an issue with seeing people. Under barrel, I like my recoil to be tight as possible, even though with this gun not that much recoil, so you could use the speed grip just for faster speed, but my preference is the Field Agent grip. And magazine, 42 round magazine, just enough ammo, not crazy on the reload time, so I use that. Handle, airborne elastic wrap, obviously drop shot, fastest ADS, stock, Raider stock, best sprinter fire time, and it's just the best overall stock. So that's the class setup, man. I hope you guys enjoy the video. That's how I rock it. Yeah, so enjoy the gameplay. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about why I chose the name Providence. I know I really haven't taken the time to actually explain what that means. I know a lot of people probably think I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, and so that's why I chose the name Providence. I've actually gotten that a couple times while gaming in lobbies. People will send me messages like, "Hey, you from Providence, Rhode Island?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." It actually has nothing to do with that. So I really want to take the time to explain it because I chose that name because it has particular meaning for me. Those of you who may not know, Providence is a theological term, and theological simply means it's something explaining God or explaining, some aspect of the nature of God, and it is a term that providence is a term that explains God's sovereign or his control and purpose in the world, and it essentially attempts to encapsulate or explain the idea that God is intimately involved with the world. When he created the world, he didn't just leave it up to chance and leave everything to just happen on its own, but he's actually involved and controlling, and he's ordaining everything that comes to pass, everything that happens, and he's doing that with a purpose in mind. And that purpose really is to glorify himself and to care for his creation and to love his creation. And the reason why I chose the name Providence is because it's a concept that's very near and dear to my heart, as I, think about who God is and how he relates to me and how he relates to, all of humanity. For me, I'm not going to go into it in detail, but I had a lot of struggle with anxiety before I became a Christian. I'm not going to go into why it happened. Maybe that's for another video, but suffice to say, there came a point in my life where I had chronic anxiety attacks. And I think at the source of why I was having the anxiety was a belief that the world was chaotic, random, unpredictable, and really that death was just around the corner at any given point. And really having this view of the world led to a lot of my anxiety. I just didn't know how to go through the day without being really paranoid or really feeling in danger or not understanding how I could function in a world that I had no control of. And there was truth in the fact that me as a person, I had no control. But what I didn't factor into the equation was that there was one who did have all control. And of course, I'm talking about God. And, shortly after developing just an anxiety disorder and having frequent anxiety attacks, I did become a Christian. And as I became a Christian, I learned about who God is, and I learned about what God does, and my view of him and how he relates to me changed. And it really began to curb a lot of the anxiety that I had, such that a few years after becoming a Christian, I stopped having chronic anxiety attacks. And I attribute that a lot to really a change in my perspective on life. And, I'm not trying to say that, if you suffer from anxiety attacks, you just need to believe in God and everything's going to be okay. I'm not trying to oversimplify the problem of anxiety, right? I do think that there's a place for medication and all those types of things, and there are people who are Christians who suffer from anxiety for an extended period of time. I can only speak for myself, and I can only speak for my experiences. What I can say is that my worldview, and I think my lack of understanding of the way the world works, led to a lot of my anxiety, led to a lot of my fears, feeling as if they were rational instead of irrational. And when I began to grow in my understanding of God, read the Bible and that sort of thing, the one thing I began to realize was, although the world seemed chaotic, although the world seemed to run off of just a series of random events, in actuality, there was one who was controlling all things, and all things were coming to pass to serve a greater purpose. Now, we could not always figure out why. We didn't necessarily have all the answers as to why it was happening. And that's something I wrestle with, even though I go through things in my life and I realize, man, I don't really have all the specific answers that I'm looking for. But one thing was clear was that God was using each and every circumstance to show me who he was and to make me more of the man that he wanted me to be, to make me more like his son Jesus. And I began to see purpose in the pain. I began to see purpose in actions, and I began to see how God was sustaining me and providing for me and keeping me, even as I was dealing with all the things that I was dealing with. And even though all my problems didn't immediately go away, I felt a deeper sense of presence, that God was with me even in my problems. Even as I dealt with what I dealt with, I believe that God, like he says in the scriptures, I will never leave you or forsake you. That's how I felt, that God was with me even as I was going through various trials. And as I got through those trials, I came out on the other side a lot stronger, a lot better, a lot wiser, and a lot more grateful for God and who he was and what he had taken me through. And there were times when God really just made my problems go away after prayer. So there were times in which I saw God deliver me from things, keep me while I was going through things, and I think straight up just help me avoid a lot of things, a lot of unseen dangers and things of that nature. So for me, the reason why I chose Name Providence as my gamer tag is because I really think that beginning to wrap my head around this doctrine, this idea, this teaching of who God was and how he related to me in this way helped me to find peace. Simple as that. Helped me to become a person that I think honestly could function with a level of sanity in this world that was crazy. And Jesus says, my peace I give to you, my peace I leave with you, man. I give it to you, and the world can't take it away. And I think as I began to wrap my mind around this theological term of providence, I realized that the world couldn't take away my peace. So just wanted to explain that for you guys. Just wanted to help you guys understand why it is I have chosen the gamer tag Providence. It's not because I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. Shout out to the people who are. I can only imagine they probably named that city after that term, but the idea of God's providence is a centuries, millennia year old understanding. And so that's why I chose the name, because it was something that was near and dear to my heart. And so that's why I rock with it. Well, guys, thank you guys for listening to me. Thank you guys for watching the gameplay. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, share the video. I'm going to be continuing to do gameplay videos and commentary videos as I have my gameplay videos. I also stream as well. My Twitch will be in the description. I also want to multi-stream to YouTube as well. So yeah, if you haven't already, man, just follow me on all my platforms, and I will continue to be pumping out this content. All right, guys. See you guys later in the next video.